Love Letter has been around for a while, and it has definitely become a classic. Absolute classic. And we're not talking just the base game of Love Letter. There have been many different editions, reworkings, rethemings of that, again, classic card game. But there's a brand new version of it now. And I might argue that it is probably my favorite version of the game. Honestly, I would never go back and play base. I know this is crazy to say, but I would honestly never go back and play the base game of Love Letter after playing this version, because I inherently think that this is a better version of it. Hello everybody, welcome back to Board Game Buzz today. My name is Carly and I'm so excited to share a little preview for a brand new title kind of within the Love Letter universe. This is Disney Stitch, the Fix for 626. Can we just talk for a second about this production? Like, I love this bag so much. I need more bags like this, please. In this game, you'll be trying to fix Stitch before it's too late. Jumba is up to his mad scientist tricks again, and Stitch is back to his destructive ways. It's up to you to get him back on his best behavior. In this quick deduction game, each player will compete to capture Stitch and recruit help from his most beloved friends. Will you find the fix for 626? The fix for 626 is being brought to you by Z-Man Games, and I wanted to give them a special shout out for helping sponsor this video for you today. Now, this is one of my typical preview videos, so I'll be going into detail on how this game operates and plays before sharing everything I enjoyed about this game and who I would recommend it for. If you are new to the channel though, and you have never seen any of my videos before, first off, welcome to Board Game Buzz. We're so happy to have you here. If you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, doing all the good stuff to support me and the channel, I would super appreciate it. But without further ado, let's dive into this preview of Disney Stitch, the Fix for 626. The very first thing I want to mention is how cute is this little baggie. This is the cutest little thing. And my kids love it. They've been fighting over this for like the past week ever since we got it because they just can't get their hands off it. So the fun part about this bag is it actually holds the entire game in it. So you go ahead, open it up, dump everything out, and voila, you're essentially good to go. Now this plays very similar to just your typical Love Letter game, except there is a little bit of a twist to it. But first, let's chat about what the game comes with. Now, this is a 2 to 5 player game, so it does come with 5 player aids. Obviously, a rule book, a cool little Stitch, double-sided Stitch token, which we'll talk about in just a second. Of course, the cards for playing the game, and then also a bunch of Hawaiian flowers, which are basically going to be used for points during the game. The setup for this game is a breeze. Like I mentioned, you literally just open up the bag, dump it all out, and essentially you're kind of set up and ready to go. You're going to go ahead and shuffle all the cards and set them in the middle of the table for everybody. You will hand everybody a player aid. So just for example, we'll say we're playing a 3-player game here, and then everybody will be dealt 1 card. It's super important to remember that there's actually going to be 1 card that is set aside off to the round that nobody knows what it is. Kind of leaves a little bit of suspense. You don't really kind of know what card is out of the deck. Now, the player who most recently watched Lilo and Stitch will actually get this little Stitch token here. And then the player to their left is actually going to be the player that begins the game. Now, if you are familiar with a typical Love Letter game, then this game should feel very familiar to you. Rounds in this game are super quick, super snappy. You, again, start with your 1 card that you have in your hand, and on your turn, you will draw a card, and then you will play a card. The cards in this game are obviously very important. They're going to show you some interesting things. So let's chat for half a second about how you read these cards. Every single card is going to be associated with a certain character within the Lilo and Stitch world. You have Jumba, Pleakley, Nani, even Lilo herself. And then every single card or every single character is associated with a certain type of ability. So for example, I will take this Jumba card here, and the card is instructing me to flip Stitch to the other side. So if that was the card that I played on my turn, then I would just take the Stitch token, whoever it was in front of, and flip it to its negative side. But the ability at the bottom of the card is not the only thing that you want to be aware of or keep track of. There's also going to be an inherent strength that is going to be at the top left-hand corner of every single card. And why that is important is because that is inherently how strong that card will be worth at the end of the game if the game ends and there are multiple people that are still in the game at the end. So we'll kind of chat about that in a second. Let's kind of go back to our turn. So coming back to my turn, if I had played this Jumba card, then it would go to the next player. Again, they would draw a card, take a look at both the cards in their hand, choose 1 to play. A lot of what these cards are allowing you to do is move this little Stitch token around or pass it back and forth between people, occasionally flipping it to its other side. Another thing that these cards might be triggering or activating is actually kicking out people from the game. There is a certain card in here that if you play it and somebody actually has this Stitch token and it is flipped to its 626 side instead of the nice Stitch or the good Stitch, then you actually can kick those people out of the game. That's partially why this Stitch token is being moved or passed from people to people, because you can potentially knock people out because of that. But there might be also times where you might want to hold on to this little token, because at the end of the game, if there are people still in the round, then this will actually give you an additional 2 strength at the end of the round, which can go towards your kind of strength power. But again, if it's on its negative side, if it's on the 626 side, then it will actually deduct your total strength. So it'd actually be -2 points of your total strength at the end of the round. So rounds will kind of continue like this, where you will draw a card, play a card. Now the round is going to end in one of 2 ways. Either this deck is going to run out, triggering the end of the game, or all players will have been kicked out of the round except for one. If the latter happened and everybody was kicked out except for one, well, then that one person remaining wins that current round, and they will collect one of these flower tokens. If the other scenario happens where this deck runs out and there are multiple people still left in the round, players will play and reveal their final card that's in their hand and calculate the strength. Again, whoever has the good Stitch token would get an additional 2 points to that strength. And if it was the 626 token, then it would be you would get -2 points from your final score. And then whoever has the most strength would again collect a flower token. Now you're going to play this game multiple rounds until somebody collects the amount of flower tokens that is set for the particular player count that they will be playing at. So for example, this 3-player game that I'm kind of mock set up here, it's going to be the first person to collect 4 of these flower tokens. The moment that happens, the game ends and the player who collected all those flower tokens wins. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how this game plays. Again, if you are familiar with the love letter system, this should feel very familiar to you. And I have played love letter a lot. I think if you have been in gaming for a while, especially longer than me, I'm sure most people probably are very familiar with the love letter system. Again, it's a very well-regarded game. Personally, it's not one of my favorite card games of all time, but if somebody's like, hey, you want to play love letter? Of course. Let's sit down, let's break it out, and let's play it. And I'd played it with my children actually a handful of times, and they never really kind of got into at least the theme of the base one that we had, right? Just kind of, I don't know, something about it, it just didn't really catch their eye. However, the moment I pulled this one out of the box, this was all that my kids needed to see was Stitch, okay? This was all they needed, and they immediately wanted to sit down and play this game. They said they literally have been carrying this around. My son Jamie actually wanted to sleep with this little Stitch bag because he loved it so much. And I actually told him, I said, okay, well, I mean, you didn't really like the last game that much. Like, I'm excited that you want to play, but I don't know how much you guys are actually going to enjoy or like this one because you didn't like the original one that much. But oh no, the fact that this was rethemed with all of the Stitch artwork and the characters that are found in that movie, that it immediately hooked their attention. We sat down, we started playing, and honestly, I loved it too. After playing it, this literally has become my favorite version of Love Letter, and primarily it was because of this little token. This token has become like the war cry for our family. We have been fighting so hard over this little Stitch token because it really does introduce a fun element to this game, because it almost kind of felt like Love Letter was missing something like this. After you play a version like this that has this little token that you can bounce around and kind of use to sabotage your other opponents, it kind of makes you think, wow, why wasn't this included in the base game? I mean, Love Letter should inherently have this because it plays so well. I love the mechanism of flipping this disc here because it adds an interesting timing element to it. You might actually want to pass this off, set up a card that allows you to pass it to the opponent, to one of your other opponents, because you know you have a future card that you can then flip it at just the right moment and then sabotage them, right? And then as the other players, you definitely don't want this token flipped to its 626 side sitting right in front of you, because you know that there are cards in the deck that people can play that explicitly say whoever has the 626 token is immediately out, just completely removed from the game. My kids found that hilarious. They thought it was so funny. And honestly, I found it hilarious too. I thought it was such a fun, interesting kind of small little thing. It was a very small thing to add to a typical love letter game, but it works so well. I think this game is inherently just perfect for families, even families with young kids. Again, there is a decent amount of text on the card, so if you have younger kids who don't know how to read yet, they will need a partner or somebody who can read the text for them. But if you have slightly older kids, just old enough to read, nothing about this game is like unapproachable for families, right? Especially with that theme. I know this whole Stitch world and movies is so big right now, and so hot, especially with like the new release of the movies, that everybody, all the kids want Stitch. At least my children do. They're so obsessed with it. And then of course with this bag, everything about it is just so fun. Now they obviously didn't need to go as far as making this little pouch for it, but I love it. I think this is just such a fun little addition, and I'm so glad that they did something like this, because Stitch is like, the Stitch character is so iconic. So I love the whole production. It's so engaging. We truly loved this game. The only thing you might have to worry about is your children stealing this to sleep with in the middle of the night, which has happened multiple times now. So just be aware that might happen because they love it so much. All right, so hopefully that kind of gives you a general idea of how this game works and operates, along with my thoughts on it. Again, we just absolutely love this. I think this is a fantastic recommendation for the families in your life, or if you yourself have a cute little family who would love another game to add to their collection that's really approachable for kids. This is a fantastic one that I would absolutely recommend. Thank you so much for watching this preview today. Again, I wanted to give a special shout out to Z-Man Games for helping sponsor this preview for you. I will make sure to have links to all the relevant information in the description below for this video, so make sure you head over there and kind of check out more about this game. And again, if you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, doing all the good stuff to support me in the channel, I would really appreciate it. But until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later. Try saying that 5 times fast. The fix for stick. See, I can't even do it. The fix for 626. The fix for 626. The fix for 626. The fix for 626. That's really hard.